idea is that you can't say, and I'll just use an example here of D. You can't just say that D is 48 degrees.
Mhm.
You have to say it's 48 degrees because, and then you have to give the reason.
And would I say because like 48 plus 132 equals 180 or?
No, you have to go to a definition. It's almost always a definition. Definition of, and then, well, it's the fact that D and 132 make up a linear pair.
Mhm.
And so you have to now justify your statement or your work. So remember when we did some problems like this where it was like x plus 7 equals 13 and you subtracted 7 from both sides and you wrote x equals 6.
Yeah.
You would say by the subtraction property of equality. We're doing that stuff now. We're giving both a statement and a reason.
So for knowing the difference where it's like linear pair and property of equality, that's just a memory thing.
Say that one more time. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
It's like D equals 48 degrees because definition of a linear pair.
Yes.
And then for the one below, sub property of equality.
Subtraction property of equality. Yeah.
You just have to remember the like property of equality or linear pair.
Yeah, you're gonna have to remember all this stuff on the right, and this is the hardest part: is remembering
All
what the reason is. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's that's unfortunately, that's where you're at in this course. Okay, now you don't have to do this in order, but you could. You could. So I guess the instructor is trying to have you do that. So let me grab this picture again, and we'll just do them one at a time, and we'll just talk about why that is.
All right.
Okay, so we have A, and yeah, A equals 90, but the question is why, and that's where your reason. That's where you give your explanation. So why is A 90? Well, it's because this other angle is 90.
Yeah.
But it's not because that other angle is 90. It's because that other angle and angle A add up to 180. Well, what is that? Well, that's again the definition of a linear pair.
Linear pair.
Yes.
And then it's a pair because those two numbers are making it become 180.
Right. So there's another thing that you're going to see later in this unit section, whatever you want to call it, is that like this does not add. There's actually other steps here. Like you have to say, and this is going off in a little bit of a tangent. You have to say the measure of angle A plus the measure of this. I don't know. Let me call this X for a moment. Measure of angle X equals 180. Like you're gonna have to write stuff like that, and that is the definition of a linear pair. And then you substitute in that X is 90, and then you solve for A. So the measure of angle A is 90. But we're kind of just giving like a very broad reasoning for it.
Yeah.
Rather than getting into specifics.
It's saying it's addition, it's subtraction in a sense.
Yeah. Apologize, my screen froze up here.
Oh man, I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, it's a technology issue. All right, so letter B. Letter B. There's actually two possibilities for letter B. B is also 90 degrees, but there's actually two reasons why. The first is that A and B make up a linear pair.
So A and B make up a linear pair.
Yeah, that would be acceptable.
All right.
The other one is that vertical angles are congruent. And so again, like what are vertical angles? Well, they're the ones where there's B and there's 90, and yeah, they're congruent. They're the same. If they're in that sort of opposite there. Now there's not a right one or a wrong one. There's a, it depends on the context.
Yeah, it's the way you like write it in a sense.
Yeah, it depends on what you're trying to prove, or where, like you might not need to ever find angle A. you might not need it. You might only need to find angle B. So you wouldn't find A. You would just say, oh, B is 90 because of that. And so like that, again, like I can't really tell you, I can't really like give you a replicate problem. Say, all right, here's one that you might see on a test. It's just a bad part of the course for that. Okay, so let's go to C.
So for C, I guess this is kind of the part where I get a little confused. So with C, I'm trying to make that equal 180 with the 138, correct?
Yeah, so that's another linear pair. So a lot of
Mhm.
these are linear pairs, and that's what is that is what's maybe frustrating, is like, why is everything the same?
Uh-huh. Okay. And then so would the angle across from D be the same as D?
Well, so C. You have to give that. What's the angle measure of C?
It is 52 degrees. Wait, no,
Yeah,
sorry, 42.
no, 42. Yeah, so be careful with those. So yeah, so we got C is 42, and then the Y is again it's a linear pair. Now you have to be very specific. You have to be more specific. You have to say the measure, and the problem is they're not like labeling this angle, but you would want to label
Mhm.
this angle. Like let's say it was angle Y. You'd want to say Y and C.
Y. So would I write like Y equals C or Y and C?
Well, you want to like we're not really getting into the proof yet.
Mhm.
So you're gonna like I'm trying to tell you that you can't just say you have to give more specificity.
All right. So would it be smart to like label it as like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something? Or
It should have been labeled better in the picture. Like I'm trying to give you the extrapolation, like what you might do in another problem. But for this one, just
oh,
fine to say linear pair. Okay.
okay.
Now let me copy this picture one more time, and let's get to angle D. So D can be done a couple of ways, as we already mentioned. D is 48 degrees also.
So then, and it's 48 because 48 plus 132
Yeah, it's
equals
because of the
180.
linear pair thing again. But it's also, and you're not supposed to know this yet, but you've already taken other classes where you would know this, is that the sum
Mhm.
of the angles in a triangle add up to 180.
All right. Yeah, I guess that's a pretty good way to explain that. Sorry, this isn't super related to that one, but I do have a question.
Yeah, yeah, anytime
Um,
interrupted.
so would E also be 132 degrees?
Yeah, and there's a couple of reasons. It's just like B. E
And then,
is, go ahead.
oh, sorry, go on. No,
I was
you
just
go
going to
on. Sorry.
say E is 132, but there's two reasons. It's a linear pair and it's a
Mhm.
vertical angles.
And it's all vertical. All right.
Because E and 132 are vertical and E and D are the linear pair. And that's what I mean by you have to specify so that you know.
Mhm. All right. Thank you. And then D in that blank spot would also be the same.
So that was, so I'm sorry, which one?
Or D in that like angle that doesn't really have a label. It's like above E and
Yeah, yeah.
132.
If that was F,
Then it would be just the
yeah.
same as D. Okay, cool. Thank you. I understand that a lot more now.
Yeah. So like the better way to have done this would have been to say, for each angle, give some possibilities for like how you could determine it, like which, like we just did, like, and because there's even a few more that I haven't mentioned. And that's where I'm a little bit unsure, because of what you're doing in your class, but
Yeah.
nevertheless.
Yeah, for this is all we've gotten for the subject
Okay.
so far. And then I guess it gets like more advanced where it's like a lot more angles in one thing.
Yeah, it could very well be. All right. So this before we do this, you're going to need just a tiny bit of instruction on this. So
Mhm.
what you're looking at is two lines cut by a transversal, two parallel lines cut
Two
by a
parallel
transversal. And hopefully you saw this in class where they label this like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Yeah,
and 8.
that's how it was, thankfully.
Okay. So this region is the interior. This is the exterior. Exterior. This is the transversal.
Mhm. And
So
then
there's
it's
like,
same on the other side, of course, right?
yeah, exactly. Now there are what are called corresponding angles. That's usually the first one they cover. Can you tell me one pair of corresponding angles that you remember from class?
Um, it, interior.
Nope.
Could I go to
Okay.
my notes or just from
It was,
memory?
yeah, just off to, so that's okay. So angle 1 and angle 5 are corresponding. Do you see how angle 1
Corresponding.
is sort of top left and 5 is top left?
Yeah.
Okay.
So does that mean that they're like the same in a
They're the
sense?
same. So we talked about this idea that they're either equal or they add up to something. So
Oh, all right. Yeah.
another pair of corresponding would be like angle 2 and angle 6
All right.
because they're top right, top right. It's like their relative position is the same.
So could you even say the same for 4 and 8?
Yes. Angle 3 and angle 7, angle 4 and angle 8. So
All right.
so the reason we're doing this is that when you go to a problem like the one I just scrolled by, you're supposed to justify your step. You're supposed to say, oh, they're the same because they're corresponding angles. You have to give a reason now. You can't just do it. You have to give a reason. And it's very
Mhm.
awkward because you're used to just doing, not explaining why you're doing. Okay, so how about alternate interior angles? Do you remember those from class?
Um, opposites that are on the, or not opposites. They're like inside, but they're
They're in the interior, okay, and
yeah.
they alternate over this transversal. So
So it'd
that's
be like
angle 3,
3 and 6.
yep, and then angle 4 and angle 5. And so
Um,
when you say, oh, like if 3 is 47 degrees and angle 6 is then 47 degrees, you have to say it's because they're alternate interior angles. You had a question?
no, that yeah, that would, I guess that was my question in a sense.
Okay. And so then there's others. But before we do that, let's look at vertical angles again. There's a lot of vertical angles in this problem. Could you just give me one pair of vertical angles?
1 and 4.
Yeah, angles 1 and angle 4. And then there's angle 2 and angle 3, and then angle 5 and angle 6, and angle 5 and angle 8, and angle, yeah, 6 and angle 7. So lots of those. And then the last one that you come up with, which comes from vertical angles, exterior angles are congruent.
So would that be something like 1 and 7 and 2 and 8?
It's angle 1 and angle 8. So here's why. Do you agree that angle 1 equals angle 5?
Yeah.
And that's corresponding. So 1 is really 5. 5 is really 8 by vertical angles. So the
Mhm.
exterior angle theorem really comes from corresponding and vertical angles. Okay, now watch this. Do you see that 3 is congruent to 6
Um, yes.
by alternate interior angles? 6 is congruent to 7 by vertical angles. 3 is congruent to 2 by vertical angles. So 2 is congruent to 7. And
All
that's
right.
your last one in
So
here.
1 and 8, 2 and 7. Okay.
So here's where this gets frustrating for students is here's a couple of things that you will see that I can actually show you. The first is I can sit there and draw two parallel lines and cut the transversal the other way. And I could ask you about A, B, C, and D. And I want to know why A is congruent to D, angle A congruent to angle D. And
The or sorry, yeah, go on.
so you have to use something from this page here, from this part here. You have to use some, justification. You can't just say because they are.
Yeah. They're corresponding, but they're also
They're not corresponding.
X.
A corresponds to, I'll put E. Angle A
Mhm.
is congruent to angle E. It's corresponding.
Or saying congruent wouldn't work either, right? Or would they like they have the same angle, but they're also not on the inside, they're on the outside. Um that would make
So that's like the point is though is A gets you to E, and then what gets you to D? How does E go to D?
corresponding angles,
Nope, vertical.
vertical. Because that's
So A to E is corresponding,
mhm,
and then E to D is vertical.
vertical. Right. Okay. And then A to D alternate exterior
So
angle.
that's one way to get there. Yeah, they're alternate exterior for sure. But you could also say, like we just did, A and E are corresponding, and then E and D are vertical.
So that that would be like your explanation.
Right. You could use either approach.
Okay.
It's kind of like flying. Okay. You could take a direct trip from A to D. Okay.
Mhm.
Or you can go from A to E, which is, I don't know where you flew through, but I'm guessing you didn't fly all the way directly to New Orleans. Assuming
Yeah,
that's where you went.
I think it was like Houston or something.
Houston. So they get E as Houston and then Houston to New Orleans. Okay. It's a
Mhm.
lot like that. You have to but if you had a private airplane, I mean, you're not stopping anywhere. You're going right to your destination.
Yeah. All right, that's a good analogy. I like that.
Yeah. So um, again, like you have to be comfortable with this. Now, let me give you another picture. Here are two parallel lines. Here's a transversal. This is A, B, C, D, E, and F. What is angle A congruent to?
Um, angle D.
Okay. And why, what is that? What was the reason for that?
It's on the shoot. I can't remember the name of the line
Go ahead and
dividing.
look. Go ahead and look if you got it written down. I wish I had a better reference for this. Let me see if I can find one.
That's not good. Um, shoot. Yeah, I don't have the name written down for that. I'll have
Okay,
to write it
alternate
down.
interior angles.
Oh,
Alternate interiors.
oh
So
shoot.
so
Okay, yeah.
so like all I've done is rotate the picture that we've been looking at. So you
Mhm.
have to be comfortable, like, oh, they're on the opposite, they're alternating over the transversal A and D, and they're in the interior.
Right. And then does alternate mean that they're just on other sides of that line?
Yes. But
Okay.
but
And
okay,
then they're on the inside of those other two, which
yeah,
makes them interior.
yeah. Yeah. So the like so now is there another angle that angle A is congruent to in this drawing?
Um, I guess B.
No.
Uh, I guess C.
Okay, you're just guessing. So how about angle E?
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant just on the interior.
No, it like I'm trying to not, these are hard to like
Yeah, of
give,
course. All right. Yeah,
but
then
it's
E would be the same, and that would be like a let's see.
sorry, I just found this quick reference on the web, and I mean it's pretty good. The problem is I haven't drawn it in the orientation of this picture down
Mhm.
here. So you have to either rotate your picture or your reference sheet here.
Yeah,
But A and E are corresponding.
corresponding angles because one's
It's in the same relative position. It's
right,
top
right.
right, top right.
Okay, yeah. Right, yeah, because they're not on opposite sides. But if you're doing A and F, that would be an alternate exterior, correct?
No, because they're not in the exterior. This is in the interior. A is in the interior. They'd have to both
Right.
be in the exterior.
So if it's on the interior, would that, and if it's going to F, would that still be just corresponding?
So if this were like G and H, G and F are alternate exterior. G and
Hmm.
F are alternate exterior because they're both in the exterior.
Okay.
and G and F alternate over the transversal.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. So there's no situation where A would go to F, right?
No,
Hypothetically.
no, it does not.
Okay. All right. Right. Interior, exterior. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you. That also
let's
like taught me there's like the difference
yeah, I
between.
mean let's do some problems here because I really and I'm gonna show you this over and over again because I think that that's
Mhm.
critical to see. But let's look at some problems and the answers. These are not heavy in like the math calculations right now. They're heavy in do you understand why? Like you need to be very clear on why the angle one is 67 degrees.
Mhm.
Why is angle
And
167 degrees? What is it here? Is it alternate interior,
it
alternate
is
exterior,
a
corresponding, vertical? What is it?
corresponding angle.
It's a corresponding angle. Yes.
And
Right.
when it's corresponding because
Because it's
the
corresponding.
two parallel lines are cut by the
you,
transversal or
you don't
whatever.
have to say that. You just have to say they're corresponding.
Okay.
Okay. So again, like here we go. Let's look at another problem here. Bring this down. But this is the key. I mean, if I could, if there was one takeaway from this lesson today, it's this. It's okay.
That one would be interior angles because they're both on
Yeah,
the interior.
there is no there is the so interior angles is not complete.
Is not complete.
Yes, you're missing a word.
What do you mean by not complete
That is
exactly?
not a sufficient definition. You're missing
Mm,
something in this
they
list.
are. Mm,
So to me, we're looking at angle 3 and angle 6.
mhm.
Do you agree? 3 and
Yeah.
6?
Oh, they're on opposite sides.
Yes. So how would we describe that?
Alternate interior.
Yes. So it's not enough to say interior angles. You have to say alternate interior angles.
Mm, all right. That makes more. Yeah, I don't know why
Because you're
I
right,
didn't say that.
3 and 5 are interior, but they are not congruent. They are not
Mhm.
congruent. But 3 and 111 degrees are because they're alternate interior angles. And if I've made any impression on you today, it's that you have to give full explanations now.
Okay.
Have you written a research paper in one of your English or history classes where you have to cite?
Yeah.
And it's painful, right? It's like, oh my God, like, do I
Yeah.
have to cite this or not? Like, is this common knowledge or not? So you just cite everything. You try to, do enough where, to feel like you're giving plagiarism. It's a lot like that here. Like, you have to explain everything.
Okay.
And you've never had to do that to this point in doing math.
My math career.
Yeah, you've just been doing it. Do. But now it's not just do, it's why.
Why? Okay.
Why is it true? Yes, because there's a lot of things you could come up with, but there's only usually one correct why. Because you're right, but both the angles are on the interior.
Okay. All right. And then if
Like you and I both live in Tucson, but
yeah.
we do not live on the same street. We probably don't even live in the same zip code, and there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that. But like if we just said, yeah, we live in Tucson, like, and somebody here, they're like, well, what does that mean? Tucson's 50 square miles big.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got to be more specific in this part of the course.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, so let's look at another one here. We'll just slide this reference down. All right. Okay. They want you to find the measure of angle HJK, which is really this X.
Mhm.
You got to give me the number and the reason.
All right. I guess K is 38.
We're not doing K. X.
All right.
X.
Um
HJK. H to J to K. The middle letter is always the vertex.
H I guess H is 180.
No,
correct?
no, we're angle X, angle X. This angle
Yeah.
right here.
Or so don't I have to figure out the other letters in order to figure out
No,
x though?
no.
142 degrees.
Okay, so that's 5 out of 10 points right now.
Hmm.
And what's the reason?
It's because it's a um there's one on there.
So it's kind of a list. You
It
got to go through your list. Say, okay, is it alternate interior? Is it alternate
it
exterior?
is
Is it
not
corresponding?
corresponding. It is a alternate exterior angle.
Okay, so they have to both be in the exterior. This is the
Oh, right,
interior
because that's
and
the interior.
exterior, exterior.
That would be a
Look at 3 and look at 7. What are they? Because that's what it is in this picture.
all right.
I know
3.
it's, you know, the angle's going down to the right and this one's going down to the left, but it's effectively the same.
So it's a corresponding angle.
Yes.
So okay, wait. So corresponding angle. So it's corresponding means that one's on the inside. I mean interior. One's on the exterior.
I
And
liken it
then
to I liken it to there's an intersection. Tucson's great for this because there's roads. It's like they're at one intersection, there's a Circle K top right, and at another intersection, there's a Circle K. Getting a lot. They're getting a little brand awareness here. Circle K top right. Okay. And it's like, oh, and then down here, lower left is a 7-Eleven. Down here is a 7-Eleven. And then lower right is a McDonald's. Lower right is a McDonald's. I know that probably there isn't one that's completely the same, but it's like relative. If you were so like, let's say you and your friend were standing at 2 different intersections and you're like, what do you see? What do you see on the northeast corner? He's like, oh, I see a Circle K. And you're like, yeah, I also see a Circle K, right? You know, or what do you see, you know, on the southwest corner? Oh, there's a 7-Eleven. I see a 7-Eleven too. Like they corresponding means the relative position, you know, is the same.
Yeah.
Top right, top left, bottom right, bottom left.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you.
So this 3 and the 7, this 4 and this 8. Okay. Now you will get this. It's just going to take a little more practice here. So I'm going to keep flooding you with these questions until we get it.
Sounds good.
But again, the most important thing is that you give the reason, because the number, truthfully, there's only 2 numbers that these can ever be, and we'll talk about that at some point. But the angle RST, measure of angle X, it's either 138 or it's another number, which we'll talk about. But your reason, it's really multiple choice, like A, B, C, and then something else. So which is it? Which is it? So we're looking at measure of angle RST, which is angle X. Here's the other one that we're given. Let's
Alternate exterior.
Yes.
And that's because it's like on opposite sides and none of them are on the interior.
Yes. Alternate exterior angle theorem. Yes.
Right, awesome. All right, cool. Yeah, I guess I just thought that I had to figure out what T and S and R all was too in order to figure out what the X was.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to that. I mean, we're not anywhere close to being like done with this, but let's just do a few more. And so let me grab this question. Let me snip this in. All right. So in this problem right here, let me just move this down again. When you're looking at this graph on the left, here's the conclusion. The conclusion is 3x plus 23 equals 4x, but I want to know why. And your y is something in this picture on the right.
I guess a corresponding angle.
Yes, you seem uncertain, but yeah, they're corresponding. The 4x is top left. The 3x plus 23 is top left.
Mhm.
corresponding angles.
Right. Yeah. It's like that's like a jack in the box or something at an
Yeah.
intersection.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So
So
let's look at that.
corresponding's on the same side of that
Yes,
middle line.
that's true. Yeah, that is true. Of that transversal. I try to stick away from. I try to stay away from those kinds of statements, but it is true.
Mhm.
Corresponding are always same side, because there's actually another same side thing we're going to talk about in a moment that I think could cause some confusion. Okay, but in problem 8 here, y is 5x equal to 3x plus 50.
Um, they are corresponding angles. Wait, yes.
Yes, corresponding. Perfect. Okay, let's try
And
and
then
so you learned about how to solve equations in algebra so that you could solve these. We're not going to do that for the moment, but that is the next
mhm.
step. The next step is to be able to solve these equations, but we're not there yet.
Man, I thought I skipped algebra.
No, no, unfortunately, no. So let's see if we can do it without the help here. Y is a plus 28 equal to 2a.
um, sorry, are you saying M or P
Nope, I'm saying a plus 28 equals 2a.
equals? Oh, okay, sorry. That would have to be interior alternate angle,
Yeah, and the order does matter.
just as long as you have them there, it's good.
No, but the order matters. like
Oh, okay.
like 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 what is this? Try to do this correctly. What is this that I just wrote?
Uh, walk side gibberish, and I
Okay, and
guess
and what is this?
sidewalk.
Are they the same or are they different?
They are different.
They are. I can walk to the side or I can walk on a sidewalk. And that's the level of like specificity that you need for this course.
All right, thank you.
Have you taken a foreign language yet?
Yeah, I've been doing Spanish for a while.
Spanish. Yeah. So the verbs or the adjectives come after the noun,
Mhm.
and that's just the way they do it. I don't know. That's just the way you do it here. Like,
Yeah. All right. It's just like the noun and the adjectives for Spanish.
yes, yes, you got it. It's the order matters. Let's see here. Sorry, I got sideways on this. We've got one more we can look at here, and then we'll talk about something else related to this. I'm glad we got to this. It's kind of a full lesson to do. Two parallel lines cut by a transversal.
Mhm.
Okay, so again, I won't even write anything here. Can you tell me what is congruent and why?
5y and 2y plus 78.
Okay, so they're equal.
They're equal.
Why are,
And
why are they equal?
because they are both on the interior and they're also alternate, so they're
Yeah,
alternate interior angles
interior angles. Good.
because they're on other sides of the line, but they're also inside the interior rather than one being in the exterior.
Good. Good. Okay, so now we're going to look at something related here. So here are two parallel lines cut by a transversal. Here are the same two parallel lines cut by the same transversal. I'm going to label these A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I'm going to tell you that angle A is 60 degrees. But I want you to find all the other angles for me
All right.
by any means that you think you need to do that.
Um, all right. I guess I'll just draw it out and then try and read them out or something.
Yeah, you can either tell me, I would like you to write it down, B is this, C is this, D is this. But whenever you got them all, let me know and we'll talk about this together.
All right, I think I got it all.
Okay. Which angle do you want to give me first?
30 degrees.
No, which
For-
angle?
Um,
I'm asking, do you want to give me B, C, D, E, F, G, or
oh,
H?
sorry. B,
B. Okay, what is measure of angle B?
30 degrees.
Okay, and what did you use to figure that out?
Um, I used alternate exterior angles.
Okay, so but okay, aren't they congruent?
Um, Congruent, the same. No, wouldn't A and C be congruent?
Yes, A and C are congruent. So what is the measure of angle C?
Um, 60 degrees.
60 degrees. Okay. Now we started out with this. Like, what does angle B and 60 what do they add up to, or what do they form? We talked about at the very beginning of the lesson.
Oh, I was thinking 60 plus 60 is 120 plus 30 plus 30 is 180. It would have to be 120 degrees for B.
Okay. So do you want some time to revise your answers?
Um, it's all the same thing, so it's fine, I think.
Okay. I like what I just heard. So keep going here.
And then the corresponding angle would be 120 for D.
Okay. Good. Keep going.
And then for E would be 60 degrees.
Okay.
And then I guess for G would also be 60 degrees, and that would be corresponding.
Okay. No, these two are not corresponding. E and G are not corresponding.
Um,
They're vertical.
Vertical.
C and G are corresponding.
C and G. Right, because they're on other sides of the line.
Yes.
So then that would be congruent, you said?
Yeah. All the angles we looked at earlier, all of these up here in this picture are
Mhm.
congruent.
Okay. All right. So then it would also, once again, be 120
Okay.
and 120. And those would also be
So what are the only
congruent
two
angles.
answers? What are the only two answers in this problem?
Congruent
Numbers,
angles.
numerical values. What are the only two numerical
Oh,
values?
120 and 60.
Yes. And that's always the case. Let me give you another one here, just one more here. So it'll be slightly more difficult here. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And let's say angle 2 is, or let's go 138 degrees for angle 1. So I want you to find the other angles in this.
I guess 4 would also be 138 degrees.
Go ahead and work it out on your own here. Just take the
Okay.
timer to see if you can get this on your own.
All right, I think I have it.
Okay, ready when you are.
4 would be 138 degrees.
Okay, give me a reason
Congruent.
for that. Why are those two the same?
It is a congruent angle.
Well, yes. So
Oh, shoot, did I do the
that's
same thing?
you can't say that. Yes, they're congruent because. Why are they congruent?
They're corresponding angles.
They're not corresponding.
Well, aren't they going across that?
Yeah, that's the difference.
I've been looking at this example wrong the whole time. It's a
It's okay. Like that, the whole point of this part of the course, I'll just reiterate this. The whole point of this part of the course is to correctly explain your answer. It's not good enough to have the right answer. And I know that's
yeah.
different than everything you've been doing. And that's why I'm being so harsh, because that's how you're going to be graded. It's not you. I'm not being harsh on you. It's the fact that it is not good, because we already know there's only two numbers. There's only two numbers, right? It's either true or false, true or false, true or false, true or false. But you have to explain why it's true or false. Okay. So you have to
All right.
explain.
Yeah. Sorry. Go on.
So these are, yes, they're congruent, but why? And your options are alternate interior angles,
And that can't be it.
alternate
So
exterior angles, corresponding, or the correct answer vertical. They're vertical angles.
vertical. So
See what
okay,
you're
I'm
what
gonna
you
write that down in my notebook.
so
The vertical definition.
what you have to be able to do is look at what I've drawn over here on the right as just you have to eliminate that other line. And you have to say, oh, if two lines intersect, the opposite angles are vertical.
Mhm. Okay, yeah, so that would be vertical. A vertical angle for 4.
Right.
And then for 3 and 2, it is going to be 42 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And those will also
Well,
be
hang on. I'm sorry, which angle is 42?
3.
Okay, why? Give me a reason why.
It is a
And it's not this list anymore.
it's to make 180. It's
Yeah, it's a linear pair.
linear pair.
Yes.
And then then also 2 would be 42 degrees, and that would be because they are vertical. No, it would
Yes.
once again be
Yes.
linear.
Or
Okay.
linear. Yeah, yeah. Either one. Actually, there's options.
Yeah, oh yeah, right. Either one works.
There's options that, yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah, wait, yeah, that makes sense now that I think about it. Because you can look on the one on the left, or you can look at 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, or 1 and 2 and say like, oh, that's a linear pair, and
Right.
look at 3 and 4 and say the same thing. Or you can say like, oh, it's 42 and 42. They're like matching
Yes.
or whatever. Okay. So then 5 and 7, or 5 would be 138 degrees.
Yes.
And then I have to write the explanation for that, of course, right?
Yeah, I'm at. Hang on just a second. Yeah, like there's actually, so it is one of these on this list, A, B, C, D, E. Why is it 138?
It is 138 because it is a corresponding angle.
It is, yes, that is one possibly. What's another?
Can't be alternate. Oh, it could be a linear pair with 42 degrees
Nope.
from
Nope.
3.
Nope.
Corresponding alternate. I don't know.
Okay, it's alternate interior. 138, 138.
Well,
Alternate interior.
oh, I did not think of that. Right, because that's the interior. Okay. All right, yeah. You used alternate interior for that, and then once again for 6, you can use alternate interior and write 42 degrees for 6.
Yeah, so this is 42 by alternate interior. It's also linear pair. And then once you get to the end, there's a bunch of other, reasons for them.
Yeah, man, I didn't even think of that. All right, 138, 138, 42, 42, and then you can say for 8, it's a corresponding angle. And then for 42, or for 7 and 6, you can also say that's corresponding. Or you can say for 5 and 6, that's a linear pair. And same goes for 7 and 8. So there's like several options you can say for every
Exactly.
single one.
Exactly.
If you start doing it one way, should you just stick with it the whole time, or?
No, it's kind of like whatever is the best path for you, depending on the problem.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, that makes
So,
more sense.
all right, Zach. So this would, this would be a good lesson always to review. Really, it'll give you some more insight into what's going on in these things. The key thing you got to know is this picture right here. You have to know this picture
Mhm.
and how to use it. So that if that's the only takeaway from today, that's fine. But that is critical here to to being able to best help you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Matthew. That helped
Yeah,
a
you're
lot.
welcome.
I
That's
don't
it
even
for
know
me.
how I was doing this before.
Well, it's smoke and mirrors. So I will see you next time, Zach. As always, appreciate scheduling and have a great rest of your night.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Okay, bye.